work you towards today? This sort of a design. It's a climbing design. That's what I call it. And let me explain what I mean by climbing. We're going to start with a different shape that you're more familiar with right now, the leaf. So if I make a leaf and I don't quite close it, and I go from that leaf back around to the other side, if I stop just above where I started, I'm in a great position to continue. I can see there's a lot of pauses with the video feed this morning. I wish I knew how to fix that. Okay, so now I want to put a leaf to the other side. A leaf out and back down, and then echoing around. And here I ended right above where I started that leaf. And so I can keep going like that, the top side of the leaf and then the bottom, and then echo. The top side and then the bottom and then echo. I could go like that forever. Or until I wanted to change the design. Maybe I want to just put a flower in here. I can make a little drop shape. And I can put a couple more drop shapes. It looks like a flower. I'm definitely going to want to echo that because I love echoing things. I think it makes it look really pretty. From right here, and everything would just be like offset a little bit, and I think that would be fine. So there's the leaf. Remember, I drew the top side of the leaf first and then the bottom, and then I echoed. And the top side and the bottom, and then I echoed. And that can go all the way from the bottom of your piece all the way up to the top. Maybe the next time, then you let me show you that this design doesn't just have to go in one direction though. It can also start to change directions. So let's say I've got my leaf and I echo it, and I've got my leaf and I echo it. I'm starting to lean to the side. That's not a problem now because I'm not trying to go in a straight line. And maybe I'll put my little flower there, my 3 drop shapes, and echo them. My leaf, my leaf. Maybe I want to like start turning it this way. So maybe I'll just pull this next leaf like way up here. See, I just like made the design go the direction I wanted. And then echo around it. Maybe I'll put another one on that side to really get the curve going this way. Great, now I'm pointing in a completely different way. I could fill in this little space with a leaf. Maybe it's time for another flower. I stopped before I drew that flower because I thought, where do I want to go after this? And if I only echo the flower once, I'll start this way, end up over here, and then echo back. And so I would lead off in the direction that I wanted to end up at the end of the whole thing. So here's the echo, and I'm back where I wanted to be. Now I'm going to start drawing this upside down, which might be confusing. So because when we were talking about it earlier, I was saying do the top side of the leaf first, and then the bottom, and then echo around. But maybe what I was really meaning is do the direction that you're going first, and then echo around it. Because that will still matter. If I'm going this direction, then I do the direction that I'm going first, and then back, and then echo. And the direction that I'm going first, and back, and then echo. This all takes time to practice and get your mind familiar with it. I just want to start like curving in here and filling up this. So I'm just going to do my next one a little bit over. Great. Maybe this would be a good time to put a flower. Now if I could echo it more than once, so I don't have to plan this ahead, but I'm going to say, well, if I echo it once, then I kind of want to be going this direction when I'm done. So I'm going to start it off that direction. 1, 2, 3, and I'll let my echo kind of fill in that big gap that was over there. And now I'm over here. I could even come back once so that I can fill in this little spot before I leave. The direction I'm going and back, and the direction I'm going and then back, and then echo. So I think that this skill of stopping your shape just above where you started it in the direction that you're going can be super powerful for creating designs that go in one direction, but also designs that like flow all over your piece. So let's go to the one that I showed you earlier and break it down. This is from the step-by-step free motion quilting book. Do you see that this is also a climbing design? Yes. What's climbing here are these little swirls, and then the flowers are pointed. They're like leaf shapes instead of the drop shapes I just did. But they still work the same way. So I will start this one drawing it going in one direction. I'm doing the top side of the thing first, and then I'm echoing around it. This is different from when we did spirals. We don't need to fill in this. You can if you want, though. It would still work out. But that's why I'm drawing it differently than I drew my spirals, because I'm not considering this a spiral. It's like a curved leaf to me. So I started here, I ended here, and now I can go to the other side. Works really fast. It starts to fill up the space really fast. And now I can think about making that little flower with the leaf shapes. 1 leaf, 2 leaves, 3 leaves. And I'll echo around it. If I don't want to end up over here, I could just come back over here. If I wanted the spiral to keep going straight, I can do it like that. Or if I wanted it to go the other direction, I can just start pulling it wherever I want it to head. Oh, I didn't think ahead and I'm over here. That's okay. If this is the edge of my piece, it's like not a big deal at all. I can just work myself right off the edge of the piece and then come back on wherever I want. I've got this like little funny area right here. What could I do about that? I could probably just like put a little guy here. Well, I could have done that better. No worries though. Off and running with it. Here's my little flower. Back out of there. Oh, now we're getting the hard part for me to draw. Way down in the corner. All right, so I think there's a lot of shapes that could work as climbing designs where you start one place and end up just above it in the direction that you're going. So I hope you will try. If you have my book, Step-by-Step Free Motion Quilting, you can find this one and the advice for it, but you can also flip through the book because there's at least like 3 other climbing designs in there. So I challenge you to find the ones that are climbing designs so that you can like get that structure in your brain. I think I saw some comments back here, so I'm going to come back and see what I see. Hello from Oshkosh. I don't know where that is. Hello. Can you speak to how you decide which particular pattern you do for a particular quilt? Yeah, what a fun, challenging exercise that can be. I definitely have had the experience where it's like it needs to be quilted and you're just not sure what should be quilted on it, and so it sits around for a long time waiting. Sometimes our projects need to marinate like that, but I think that there are some processes that you can go through to make it go quicker, that decision on the quilting design. So one thing is, if you use print fabrics, look at the print fabrics that you used and see if there's any shapes in there that you can use. Are there particular lines or particular swirls or flowers or leaves that you can, kind of simplify into a motif, because that motif is already in your quilt and it's already working. So pulling that out into your quilting seems like a really easy way to keep the spirit of the piecing going. Maybe you're doing something in all solids though, and then it's more like tuning into the spirit of your quilt and asking your quilt, what feelings does the quilt give you? What feelings do you want the quilt to give you? And how can you support that with the quilting? So if the quilting is really light, if the quilt is really lighthearted, then you're choosing a design that feels really lighthearted to you. If it feels more serious or spiky, you're getting something that's more serious or spiky in there. I also, you know, because my interest has gone a lot into like texture and kind of like captivating the viewer with the quilting, I would also say, you know, if you're willing to do really more intense quilting work, you could ask, where do I want the viewer's eye to be looking? What's my favorite part of the quilt, and can I emphasize that? Is there a least favorite part of the quilt, and can I de-emphasize that? Because with the quilting, you're basically like changing your quilt from a flat thing to something that's actually like a little bit like a sculpture, and you're kind of that sculptural effect guides the eye where it should or shouldn't be looking. You can kind of control how your viewer sees it that way. I hope that answers the question. You're welcome for doing this, Mary. Oshkosh is in Wisconsin. Oh, okay. Oshkosh Bagosh Bib Overalls. Great. I didn't know. I used to live so close to Wisconsin. If I'm using a climbing design on a domestic machine, would I start at the bottom and work up? That's the opposite of how I typically start quilting. I think you could go either way. And if you're used to working from the top, you could just work the whole thing upside down, you know, if you wanted to work from the bottom. I don't think you need to, especially if you're doing it all over like this. I think you could start anywhere. You could start on the edge and work towards the center, fill in the center, and then work around the outside. That's probably how I would do it. You just start in the center. Or you could do it, you know, if you weren't feeling really comfortable moving around the space and knowing how to fill all that in, just working in columns, you know, up the entire quilt. Thank you for all the sweet hearts. Well, I think it might be Lego time because I don't see any other questions, although feel free to ask any of them. I'll be happy to answer them. You're welcome. So fun doing this. So, do you have a Lego to show? Oh, he's thinking about it. Well, let me just think about what I want to tell you. All the hearts. Thank you for all the sweet hearts. Is it true for all meanders you start in the direction you want to go? I bet I could think of one that doesn't start in the direction it wants to go. In particular, if there was something that echoed itself 2 times, let's just experiment with that. Let's say I'm doing this design. It's a drop shape. If it echoes itself 2 times, I started off going this direction, but I ended off over here. So it kind of depends on how many times you're going to echo it, or how many passes or how many elements there are in the design and where they lead, where you're going to end up. So it kind of depends on if you want to be strict with yourself. If that helps you to be like, I'm going to echo this 2 times every time, then you can use that to think ahead. If you're like, ideally I'm going to echo it 2 times, but sometimes I'll echo it 3 times. I think that's much more practical and you don't feel stuck. Because sometimes you won't think ahead and you'll be in a corner, and then just echoing it again will get you out of the corner.